Welcome to Playing the Modern 4-2-3-1 Soccer Formation. This book is available on Amazon.com under Marcus DiBernardo. Enjoy the video. Welcome to Coaching the Modern 4-2-3-1. So what we're going to do today is just kind of give you a little lecture on the 4-2-3-1 formation. One of the nice things about the 4-2-3-1 is it starts with 4 in the back. Right? So we have right back, 2 center backs, left back and right back. And then we have the number 6, the defensive center mid, the number 8, and then number 10. So defensive center mid, passing center mid, attacking center mid. And then we have winger, and striker. So the nice thing about the system is anytime you play 4 at the back, it's very secure. You have enough coverage. You also have a 5-man midfield. 5-man midfield, again, defensively is very good, and in possession is very good as well. One of the issues with the 4-2-3-1 is that you have a lone striker, so you don't have another player here to combine with the striker. If your team is not great in possession, it often leaves the striker isolated up top with nobody to combine with. If your team is a little bit better in possession, it gives time for the wingers to come up, and it gives time for the number 10 to come up, and then they can start to combine with the forward. One of the things I would say is that this striker, it really depends who you're playing against, but he has to be good at holding the ball up. Helps if, that striker has speed as well, but if you're controlling the game and you have a player like maybe a Giroud from an Arsenal, and then he could just be a target forward in the box, and that's fine as well. I like the number 10 to be somebody who can penetrate off the dribble as well, so maybe not just a guy with great skills, but a guy that can beat people one-on-one as well. Your outside, your wing backs, this is a position that's very demanding in this system because they really get up and down. Should have a real high endurance levels, be able to get up and down this field. Your number 6 right here, your defensive center mid, again, he's going to be the guy who really transitions the ball from side to side. This needs to be a player with both left and right foot and short and long passing. The number 8, your center mid, should be a tireless worker in there, a ball winner. Wingers, again, it's always great to have wingers with pace, but these wingers are also going to need to be able to combine as well, because as they tuck in to join the attack to almost make 3 up front, they're going to run out of space at some point. They need to be able to combine and move that ball 1 and 2 touch. Now let's talk about kind of how you're going to deploy this system. There's a lot of different ways that you could play a 4-2-3-1. So we're actually going to start today by looking at it in attack. So this is in the middle third to the attacking third. What are the roles and responsibilities of the player? So we'll say that one of the center backs has the ball, the right center back has the ball. This is your number 6, and we'll have a number 8 here. So what I like to do is split the field down the middle and say, hey, the number 6 can work this side of the field, and number 8 can come in and check to this side of the field. Check anywhere in here. I like to do that because it becomes too predictable if just the number 6 is the only one who comes and checks to the ball. So again, this is your number 6, this is your number 8, defensive center mid, passing center mid. I like them to be able to split the field, so different players are filling different spaces all the time. It becomes a little more confusing for the defense. You add your number 10 into this now, your attacking center mid. If you want to allow him to rotate, you can. As the number 6 could go up, the 8 rotates in, and so forth. This really would start to confuse the defense. Now, you can also, if you want to play almost 2 number 6s and a number 10, that's fine as well. So 2 6s, in a sense, they have the same responsibility if you want to play them a little deeper. I like the rotation of all 3. Sometimes, it depends on the level of the player. Sometimes I'll just stick the number 10 to his attacking responsibilities and leave my number 6 and my number 8 to split the field in half and do their duties. Now, as you can see, the wing backs now have pushed far up the field. They're responsible for the width, right? The width on attack. Now, when you never have really the same lane that's going to be filled. So if this is the outside lane here and the wing back is creating the width, the winger, we'll say this is the winger, is going to tuck in. He could tuck in there, he could tuck in here. Wherever it is, the winger tucks in, leaving this lane free. And essentially, what happens is you'll have your striker right here, the number 9, your attacking center mid. You might have a winger here and a winger here. You're creating a diamond, 2 triangles up top. Your wing back moves on, right? Your wing back push all the way on into attack. This is a very aggressive way to play this. You can even send both wing backs up, right? So if we send both wing backs up, now we have a front line of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's the number 10, 6 in attack, right? And then we have the number 6 and the number 8. Maybe the number 8 pushes up a little bit, depends what side of the field. If it's this side of the field, the number 8 will push up. Maybe the ball's in here, the number 6 will go and the number 8 will slide. And then you have your 2 center backs. So essentially at any point in time, once the ball, say we get the ball to the wing back here, what's going to happen is you're going to have your center back. Probably in this situation, if the ball is pushed up here, maybe your number 6 will come into this area as the number 8 stays home a little bit. Center back, so you have 3 right there. 1, 2, 3, securing against any sort of counterattack. And we're attacking with 6 players, 7 there, and 3 holding. Okay, that's kind of a very aggressive, offensive-minded way that the 4-2-3-1 now, depending where this player is, this becomes either 3 or a 2, 1, 1, and then at this point you could look at a 4 or a 5 across and a 1. Formations, my point is this, that formations, just because it's a 4-2-3-1, look what it's morphed into in the attacking third. Sometimes it goes a 3-1, 3, 3. It depends what this movement is about. But this is an attacking set. And here's just another quick look at it. So this is a little bit different of an attack, but you have your center back. Say this is your number 6. Say your number 10 now starts to come back a little as your number 8 surges forward. Your winger here stays wide. The wing back now cuts in and makes use of that space there. So again, they're not going to fill the same channel, so the winger elects this time to stay wide as this wing back cuts in. Maybe even has the ball and he cuts in. At this point, your striker's high. Again, your 8 came forward, so maybe your 10 sits back a little, maybe not. Your winger cut in, and at the same time, your wing back starts to surge forward to create the width, and you still have 3 at the back to keep things safe. Just another different look at it. Now, just to give you a few examples of different ways to play this system again, say this would be like a Dortmund, right? When Klopp was at Dortmund, or even kind of like a Red Bull Austria or something like this. If you notice, even in possession of the ball, we'll say we have possession here. Even in possession of the ball, we haven't expanded the field as much. We've expanded the field, but not quite as much. And the reason being, if, say, Red Bull Austria loses the ball, say they lose the ball in here, they want their team to be a little bit more compact in shape, even in possession. Because if they lose the ball, their game plan is to press, and everybody comes in and presses, right? When you expand the field, if you lose the ball and you expand the field and you lose the ball, it takes longer for your players to come in and press. So they play a little bit more narrow of a system even while in possession of the ball. And one of the things that they always do, especially the Red Bull Austria, is they play that striker high up in between the 2 center backs. So as soon as they create a turnover, there's always this option of first ball in, immediate score right there. Now again, they play a little bit tighter. If you want to compare that to like an Arsenal, right? Arsenal is a very expansive team. And so instead of their wing back here, maybe their wing back's here. Maybe Bellerin's going to go all the way out here. Their center backs aren't going to play as tight. They're really going to open up in possession. Now look at the difference. All the way out here, two center backs really split. You have a lot of room for these two center midfielders to work in and get the ball here. And you're going to have your wingers are going to be really high and wide, or they'll be pushed in here. Depends on what channel is filled. These wing backs come all the way up. They always have them attacking in possession like this. Number 10, usually this is like Ozil or somebody sitting in here. But now they've used the entire field. And the only issue with that is when Arsenal loses the ball, you're not quite sure what their game plan is. You're not quite sure, are they trying to press? Maybe two guys press sometimes. I'm actually a little confused when I look at Arsenal's game model. I'm not quite sure their game model in defending. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do. Do they hold a line of confrontation? You can barely even tell. So again, you can play this formation to fit whatever game model that you're going to implement. Then when you're talking about formations, and we're talking about the 4-2-3-1 right now, we have to say, where is our line of confrontation? If you're going to make your line of confrontation right here, you allow 2 to 3 players to extend over the line of confrontation. Because you have 4 in the back, here's what I kind of like about the 4-2-3-1. You have 4 in the back, right? You always want to have, and since you have a 5-man midfield, this works out very well. You always have the man sitting in the gap, here. So now you have 4, and you can have 5 right there. Very simple, right? Line of 4, 1 sits back. This 5th one is right in here. This is very compact, very hard to break down, and you could leave your forward high in between the two center backs, right? So line of 4, no gap in between, in the center of the field, in between the two lines. One can always drop in. You could have this player always the same. If you always want this player to be the same, you can. You would just drop him in. You could actually make 2 lines of 4 and always keep the 6. So if you always want to keep the 10 back, no problem. Keep the 10 back, keep the 6 here. Less confusing. So you always have one playing in between the 2 lines of 4. So it's actually a 4-1-4-1. There's a million different things you could do. There's tons of different ways that you could play this system. Maybe you want to leave your winger up high all the time and say, hey, don't recover. So now you know that you're just going to keep 4 back, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, this one would drop in here. So you'd have a line of 4-4. Your winger would stay high, and your forward could stay high, or you can come back in between. But the team would always know, like Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe not coming back. They know if they get a turnover, immediately the counterattack is on here because your winger stayed high. There's a ton of different strategies you could use in any formation. It doesn't have to be the 4-2-3-1. Again, this is different if you're holding a line of confrontation. This is a low block. This is in the middle of the field, right, where you hold the line of confrontation. If you're holding a low block, if the team is passing the ball well and they pin you down in your own half, then obviously your 2 lines are going to be back here near your 18-yard line. If you're a pressing team, maybe you're going to press all the way into their half, you have to address this in your formation. And each player needs to know their exact role and their exact responsibility in the 4-2-3-1 in each part of the field and how it relates to your bigger game model. In Dortmund, it was a pressing game model. At Arsenal, I didn't really even see a defensive game model, but it was a free-flowing attack in their game model, while Dortmund and Red Bull Austria were a little tighter in attack with that formation. Their center backs sat a little tighter in, their wing backs were a little bit more conservative compared to an Arsenal. So these are the things that, a formation, just to say I'm going to play a 4-2-3-1, there's many, many different ways that you could play it. And remember, at least my view on formations is it's just a starting point. It's a general reference for how we're going to play, and every player understands their role in that. But at the same time, as you get the ball, it starts to morph into a different shape. And as you lose the ball and you come back, it morphs back into a different shape, closer to the 4-2-3-1 as it morphs back into a solid defensive shape. But again, your defensive shape can be all kinds of things. It could be a 4-1-4-1. But again, it is a 4-2-3-1. That's your basic formation.